Welcome to the Roo, Ditts and Loz podcast, kept hot by Ream. You can listen to this podcast anywhere you like, even in the shower. Ream, Australia's favourite hot water.
This is The Bump, the one podcast SA footy fans need to hear, where the biggest names tackle the biggest South Australian footy stories. Roo, Ditts, Bernie, Jars, Triple M's The Bump.
Jars, Biggles and Ditts with you this week. G'day, men.
G'day there, Ditts.
I'm glad you're up and about because there's not much to be up and about with our two teams at the moment. Let's get right into it with Port Adelaide. One of the most disappointing performances I've seen in years, actually, at the weekend. GWS are a real good side, but Port didn't give a yelp.
Were the matchups right? Were they beaten before they got in there?
Tell me more. What do you mean?
Bedford destroyed
Butters. Yeah.
which not destroyed because Butters having an incredible year.
But he
that
did
was
have
a
an
great
influence on the
matchup
game. Yeah, it was.
because both coaches gave them best on ground. So if Kenny's gone in and said that it was a best on ground matchup which affected our game, that's one I got wrong. I'm pretty sure Ken probably put his hand up to that. The Drew tag on Green got dropped. I thought Drew was outstanding, and they dropped that at half time. So matchups I didn't think were great, but of course the confidence, the goal kicking is shite.
Yeah,
What is
it's
how's that
terrible.
goal kicking bloke going from London? There you go.
Oh, you got him, have you?
I don't
Well, you got
know.
Paul Gascoigne down there, have you?
It must be. It must be.
That is not viable.
I don't understand how coaches go in with a plan to negate the best opposition player, and then they go in and it's effective. So we know that, and this is shutting down the best opposition player. Then they go in half time, and then other coaches must say to the senior coach, I reckon we've got to drop that. We're not going to win the game. We've got to drop that to try and win the game. Back in the day, you were tagged for 4 quarters. There was relentless, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we've heard, what was the other game where they dropped the tag? It's Clarko with Dacos on Sunday.
Yeah.
That young lad had Dacos covered. 3/4 time we'll drop the tag. So why did Kenny drop the tag?
Got me stuffed. Then why don't they do a heavy, decent defensive tag one-on-one? Riccardi and who was the other one? Hogan. 21 marks between them.
Yeah. Terrible.
Any chance of getting a spoil in?
Yeah. Not a lot happening with the Port Adelaide defence at the moment.
No.
And I'm sorry to name individuals, and again, this is me. I'm only an idiot in the cheap seats, and I do take that on board. But Farrell had 30 touches. I'd like someone to explain what his role is, and I'll tell you why, Biggles. He took the kick-ins, right?
Yeah. Sometimes
Sometimes he went short, about 20 metres, then ran past and accepted the handball, only to just bomb it blindly. Now, I'm told he's an elite kick, and he is an elite kick.
He
Hit
is.
a target.
Yeah.
Don't run past, accept the handball, and go, now I'm in trouble. I'll just go bang, and then one of theirs on centre wing mark comes straight back in. You got to be better than that. If he hits that short target 20 metres up, the next kick should be another short one, 20 and work your way through that through the middle, because what's the point of taking the kick in if you then end up with it to bomb long blindly to nobody? I don't understand.
The coaches talk so often about territory, the percentage of getting territory. Well, Farrell roosts at 55. There's your territory one. It's out of that. Yeah, there's a tick in the box. Is that what they're
He's an
referring?
elite kick if he hits someone 55 metres away.
So who was he aiming for?
I don't
'Cause
know.
that's
He
where
wasn't
you
named
keep-
for anyone.
Well,
That's
you
what
got to
I'm
have your
saying,
key
Charles.
targets there
So
on the wing.
therefore, who's the coach that sat him down and said, let's not stop doing
That's
that?
his defensive coach.
Let's not bomb it long, just do that.
Who's your defensive coach down there? Who does the defence?
Hang on, I have to think about that.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
But the player's got to take responsibility too.
yeah.
And anyway,
Gold sack.
it is Tyson
Goldsack.
Gold. You're right,
Right.
Tyson Goldsack.
Okay.
Thanks for that. Now, but so that didn't work.
No.
And
They kept
you know,
doing it.
And then they just kept doing it time and time again. Houston, for mine, has to be the kicker.
Okay.
Now he's better than
What
just
about
being a
the-
designated kicker, but
Yeah.
let him take the kick-ins
Yeah.
and then let him drift up to
give
halfback
the ball
and do the work
give the ball to Farrell, around the wing.
to maybe kick the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your
I'd
second
like to
and
see
third
that.
kicks from kick-ins are really important in
Yeah.
today's game.
Yeah.
So important.
Houston appreciation post. He's got to win your BNF. I love the Stars, but Houston is incredible. He is the most reliable, defensive, accountable, genuine gun in
Yep.
that side.
Yep.
I feel but probably doesn't get the reward he deserves.
I think in the club he would.
Yeah.
So moving forward, you're 8 and 5. You're sitting 8th now on the ladder.
Nah, 7th.
7th. What's the next 9 weeks like for Port
What about
Adelaide?
this week
And I'm going to
without
ask the
Butters
same
and the
question.
suspension?
Yeah, Brisbane this week, Jars, all of a sudden is a very hard game. Brisbane are coming into form. Their forward line's firing.
That's dangerous.
And our
as.
back line isn't firing.
No, and you got no Chuck.
Yep.
Are they appealing for that? Are they going to appeal that 3-match suspension in the sample?
Only what I heard from the press conference from Ken said we'll work through that, but they've got to appeal the Butters. Was it the jab?
Yeah.
Because of what the precedent has been with Pendlebury on Neil. That was worse than what Butters did.
Yeah.
Green didn't even flinch. You can't cop a week for that. So he's got to get off. They've got to challenge that at the tribunal. Jesse Hogan did one which was a low impact and got off. That's got to be. You can't lose your best player for that.
I'm seriously concerned all of a sudden, though. But look, I came into this season really excited. And excited by the midfield. You know, there was so much hype about it. And they are guns, and they will be guns, no doubt about that. Gee, it's fallen away quickly after
You're not
them.
a top 8 side at the moment.
I don't think so. And there's...
Top 8 you are.
No, they're not.
Come on.
Not on current form, they're not, Biggles. I'm sorry.
They'll be top 8.
No, not on current form, and not with Rachele out. Sam Powell-Pepper's been an enormous loss. He's your barometer.
Yep.
Soldo's, I don't know, hit and miss.
He got thrashed on the weekend.
He got. Your defence is suspect. Your reliance on your 3 young kids, 4 kids in the midfield. Your forward line's non-functional. Todd Marshall, he's no man's land at the moment with his career.
Biggles, can I just go back? I want to ask you about Soldo. Would you play Sweet ahead of him?
No, Soldo had a bad game. Excuse me. He's still recovering.
Aside.
Well, I know by Briggs, and they're the one GWS apparently after Strachan at the moment. Briggs, I think, probably was their better player.
You've got to keep Briggs.
Briggs went really well, but it's just the chop out in that centre. So then Finlayson comes back in for Lord surely this week.
No.
They've got to bring Finlayson back in. Lord's
dropping
out of his depth. He's out of his depth.
What?
He's just
He
finding
just
his
played one game.
You can't. You've got to go and perform. This is do or die because otherwise you're getting Starcevic and Harris Andrews this week on Lord. You're going to destroy his confidence even more.
Played really well in the He was the only player actually that gave a yelp against Brisbane up there in the finals.
Lord.
Yeah,
He was.
Four.
No, I'm backing him in.
Horses for courses. You love your punt.
Geez,
There it is.
Biggles.
Good work. I like that.
Well, only going. No, but you're right. He was very quiet on the weekend, 4 touches. But if you go back to the game, you know when he was fit and up and firing, he has an absolute.
They've got to back
crack.
him in again because
Give him a few
you got
weeks.
no one.
Taylor's a star. Taylor.
He's a great player.
Why don't you just play Finlayson on a wing? Just play him on a wing. I like him. There's something about him.
I think
he
the
hits
coaches,
the scoreboard.
I don't reckon the Port coaches
What?
are a big rap for
He's
Finlayson.
out of favour.
Why?
Yeah, he's out of favour. There you go. That's a
Last
political
year
way to put it.
he was the darling of Port Adelaide.
I think in big moments they've questioned.
Oh, he's got some mates down there.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
But
That is true.
your next month is going to be really important.
The
But
defence is really shaky.
At this stage, I don't think you're playing finals.
No.
At this stage.
Defence is shaky, forward line shaky, and if
You lose to Brisbane Lions.
it's a tough end of the season.
Well,
Definitely.
the other thing I heard this week is apart from appealing the Butters suspension, they've gone the AFL and appealed to play, instead of having the bye next week, they're going to play the Elizabeth Eagles so they can get some points.
Now
and
you're
they
bringing.
and they don't drop
Biggles
off.
is bringing his material now, family.
Well, they don't drop it. They
Come
always
on.
lose
Well,
after
I
the bye.
played that day, so will I get Houston or Farrell? I'll kick 5 on them in a quarter.
Can I ask? This is a general football question too. I hit Tex Walker up with this on the breakfast show, and I'm shut down. You know, at times I think I know absolutely nothing, which is fair enough. But gun players that just roam around on their own. Against Carlton, Cripps destroyed us in the final quarter because he just didn't have an opponent. I just all fans scratch their head at that stuff. I'm the bloke that still goes to the front bar, Biggles, and talks to the nuffy because they're all my mates. And we go, how does Cripps get to run on his own? Oh, that's modern football. You know? I just don't understand it. It happened with Heaney against the Crows the other night, takes a mark inside 50 at a critical time. So why wouldn't you go into a game, and let's use Port as an example. You've got Butters, Horn, Francis, Rozee. Why wouldn't you say to 3 blokes, go out and stand next to them all day, and everywhere they go, you go, and beat them? Why can't we do that? Because Tex tells me today, oh, no, you can't tag 3 people. No, you just can't. Why can't you?
A lot of it's skill set. Do they have the defensive capabilities?
But at least be next to them instead of being 10 metres away or 20 metres away.
But that might be like saying, Rosie, go and take a hanger every time you go for a mark. You can't actually do that. They're not defensively strong enough to go with the Cripps. They know that you can't stand one-on-one with the Cripps and go defensively with him.
But what I'm saying to you, the alternative
Houston
is
could.
he's 20 metres on his own.
Yeah.
You can't do that either. You cannot win a game
Yeah,
doing
I
that.
see that point. That's what you're saying. Rather than the ball that's in dispute, you've got to go head-to-head with Cripps every time there's a centre
I'm
bounce.
saying at least be near him.
Yeah, that's work rate, isn't it?
But
Yeah,
also,
I can see that point.
they guard space now, Ditts.
Which is bullshit.
But this is modern football. They guard space. They don't care about their opponent anymore. It's not about playing on an opponent. It's making sure that how you're shaped up behind the ball, how you shape around the contest and the ball ups. It's space. It's no more one-on-one footy. It's no, I'm on Ditts today. He's my man.
No, I know that, Jars.
those
My
days
question
are
to you is,
dead. And I like what you're
go
coming
back.
from. Yeah.
Because you're not going to win. Certain teams are not going to win games by letting the other stars in the opposition just roam on their own and get it 30 times and do what they like.
Yeah.
You can't win doing that.
No. And even in community football, it's all man on man.
Yeah.
It's all man on man. You know, I'm going,
That's right.
this is interesting. But it's effective. So today's game is different than what we went through, isn't it? And Biggles, but it's about guarding space, Ditts. So I agree. I agree what you're saying, but they don't coach that anymore.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on Port Adelaide? If you were to make changes this week, who are you bringing in? Who are you dropping?
Well, who have you got?
No,
Finlayson
I would take Finlayson for Lord.
Finlayson.
Just, get the confidence back in Lord first.
All right.
Back in Lord.
Okay.
Finlayson in. Is Rachele up and about, or was he another week?
Well, it was
No,
a
he's not
calf,
about.
so I don't know.
I wouldn't be
What's he
risking
missed?
him. I
He's
wouldn't be
missed
risking
3
him.
weeks now, I think.
Yeah.
Rosee's hamstring, to me, is something that's lingering. Just the
Didn't have the
rumblings I'm
spark.
hearing is more like a tendon sort of tightness, which
Yeah.
doesn't go away.
Yeah,
So
right.
he has to manage that. And even over the bye,
Yeah.
it's not getting so he's going to have to play with that. You won't get that explosive speed until he gets another 3 or 4 week block.
Yeah.
They just can't afford to take him for 3 or 4 weeks off the field.
Right.
Fair enough. All right. Let's look at the Crows, shall we? For 2.5 quarters, Biggles, your mob were magnificent
Yeah,
against
Biggles.
the top side.
Yeah. Your mob, Biggles.
And then it was 10 goals in a row.
They punish you, the Swans, don't they?
Yeah.
They punish you
They tease you. They got gears.
mentally.
Crows don't have gears.
Mentally, though, when I was a bit confused when Nixie said that we took it up to him in the last. We were trying to take
No,
the game on.
no, you didn't,
I
Nixie.
saw blokes
Sorry.
taking kicks in the second half, which was second guessing themselves. In the first half, there was no question about the way in which the Crows play and the confidence with the ball in hand to run and. Like, they just need someone like a Shoal who can run and carry and hit targets. What you're talking about with Farrell, hit a target consistently when mentally they don't have that confidence. The whole thing just breaks down. And there's no confidence in the boys.
But a lot of these lads aren't up to this level of football. I don't know why we keep talking about these.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of them are
That's the
just
depth
not
of the
up to this
AFL.
level of
Yeah.
football. I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now, we're like a dog chasing our tail with some of these young lads. Sydney have got 6 or 7 elite players. The Crows maybe have 1, which is Dawson. And if Tex is available,
Rankin.
and maybe Rankin, Rankin's probably in that. But they just don't have the talent, and it's again it goes back to the 5-6 years of all these recruiting, all these players I've picked up. They're just not good enough.
So
Bottom line,
you put a line through the season. Everyone's looking at, okay, everyone's banging on list management. Where are we going to at the moment? So Jack Graham's the one they're into at the moment for Richmond because of leadership. Now, leadership drops off. So can they get an unrestricted free agent in Jack Graham? And is
How
he the
old's Jack
saviour?
Graham?
26.
Now, he came and had a look at Port Adelaide last year, which means...
And he came to the Crows.
Is he open to
He is,
coming
because he
back?
wanted more midfield time. I didn't know he was going to get that under Uze. But the question... I heard that he didn't like the Crows because of the facilities at the time.
Joking.
Yeah, and they reckon that's why the Crows have not picked up a lot of players, because they walk around West Lakes at the moment, and I kid you not,
It's a bomb site.
Oh yeah, it is so average. And when you're comparing that to Carlton and
Yeah.
Essendon, Hanger,
Yeah.
and Port Adelaide's, getting revamped, but
But you wouldn't... I'll tell you what, now's the time to get out of Richmond, though, isn't it? You've had your good times. The good days are gone.
so I'd rate him on his leadership. You're going to get 5 years out of him.
Yeah.
He doesn't have leg speed though.
He's
Crows
slow,
need leg
mate.
speed.
Good player.
And we got a lot of those
Gun
players.
player.
We
Yeah,
got
had
a lot of.
shoulder Rico, which has cost him a few
But
games.
he's all right, but he's better than the slow players that you've got in there at the moment.
Yeah, I'll give
Isn't
you
he?
that.
Well, he's
yeah,
a premiership player.
Yeah.
You know that
And a
certainly-
South Australian, which is huge.
But
Because players
he's
wanna
not
come
going
back.
to he's not going to solve the issue. And the issue
No.
is it's going to take another 3 or 4 years before we start seeing some good results and some finals football. And I don't like saying a rebuild on a rebuild. We shouldn't have ever gone through the rebuild. Should never. That was a terrible decision made by those people down at West Lakes.
Well, what's the alternative, though, Jar? So, if they do a rebuild because they figure they're heading towards the bottom, so you've got to start again, don't you?
Well, look at Geelong. Did you ever see them
No,
rebuild?
they did. No, you're right. But
They don't.
clearly the Crows made a
And-
decision
Yeah.
for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm being serious.
And has
here.
it worked?
Look, the Swans, Geelong, Hawthorn stayed up for a long, long
Well,
time. There's 3 clubs that did it
Because
really,
they make
really
the right
well.
decisions, they recruit the right players. They have, and this has been going on for 7 years, more so 5 years. And now, look where they are now. What's the bottom 4? What's the next 9 weeks going to be like for Nixie moving forward?
Pretty hard.
Got the bye, so they can go away, switch off your computers, players go away 4 or 5 days, Biggles. And then I want to know what the next 9 weeks looks like for the Adelaide Crows.
Giants, then Brisbane. Oof.
Well,
Nasty.
they're good for a half of football, and then we see.
They can turn it around without recruiting if they can get confidence. So the psychology.
So you reckon it's confidence?
Psychology at the footy club at the moment is huge, and Ports. The mental toughness and confidence to play like they played in the first
But
half.
Biggles, there's a lack of talent.
Oh, there is lack of talent too, but they still in that first half against Sydney, when the confidence was flying, look out. But as soon as that drops off, yeah, you have got a few injuries, but then Richmond had a longer injury.
Everyone
list
don't
and
use the injuries. I
Still
hate
torched
that
us.
excuse.
No, but
Tex used
Oh,
that.
yeah, but Jars, to be fair, if you've lost your 4 or 5 best players, you're a different
But
side.
then that goes back to your good depth. That goes back to your development program. That's where that goes
Well,
back.
I'll make
The
a
Crows
statement. I'm not
sample
making
program's
excuses
a
for anyone
shambles.
here, but if Sydney get 3 injuries right now, they're stuffed as well. Seriously.
Well, let's watch that space.
I'm telling
I
you,
don't think
any
they
of
are.
these clubs-
I think their depth is fantastic.
All right, well,
We'll watch this space. But I know what you're saying, but I disagree with that. I think if you've got a great development program,
I don't like stats.
And the Crows, no, you don't.
But the side that wins the premiership every year usually has the least amount of injuries.
Correct.
Least amount of games
Spot
lost.
on.
Well, so that
and
backs
then,
that
and then
up.
playing blokes who aren't probably up to the level or still finding their feet,
Yeah.
who are slightly injured. So Strawn's groin wasn't right, and you're going to give him game time because what
Where's
they
he
want to
going?
do,
Is he staying?
Adelaide want to keep Strawn.
Right.
Now, if I put my Strawny hat on, who I admire and
Yeah,
think is a great
yeah,
player,
yeah.
and I see some of the other ruckmen in the competition at the moment, I'm going, if I'm Strawn hat, I'm going, I need to look at another club. That's
Right.
a management.
Yeah, yeah.
His manager needs to go to him and go, I need to look at another club. Now, he's such a good club team man, he doesn't want to leave. So they give him games when Riley O'Brien didn't deserve to be dropped. He was going average, but did not deserve to be dropped if you look at other blokes. So they're giving game time to Strawn just to give him enough of a carrot to go, hey, I'll stick around at this club.
He got thrashed on the weekend.
Yeah, he got barbecued.
by
I don't know, against the best in the
by
comp.
Red
With half a
your
groin,
mate.
though. He's
No,
running on
no,
half.
no. I'm still talking about
half
Strawn.
speed.
Sorry,
Strawny.
Strawn.
Oh, sorry,
Rob.
Grundy. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
And
He-
then the
he
week
got
before,
belted.
he's been thrown to the Wolves.
Yeah.
The last
But
2 weeks.
You can't be playing him with a sore groin up against Riley Grundy. Surely you just go, I'm sorry, we'll give you a game after the bye once you freshen up. Well, Rob's
Yeah,
coming back in.
yeah.
I don't care what
yeah.
what the Wolves are going to say outside of the club. So you can't tell me you can recover from a groin in half a week.
And Strawny would have been going to them. No,
up
I'm
against
fine.
up
I'm
against
fine.
Brody Grundy, who has a massive engine and runs around and turns you over, and like seriously,
Did we have a crack at him,
31 disposals.
Brody?
Yeah, he wasn't interested.
Didn't want to come.
Didn't want to
back
come
to
to
No, he
Adelaide.
didn't want to come
I mean,
here.
Port Adelaide wanted him desperately. He didn't want to come here.
Sydney Swans
He
knocking
didn't
into him.
want to come home. So Grundy didn't want to come home.
Wouldn't you take Sydney as well? I'd take Sydney.
Why don't they want to come there?
Yeah, but you say that. I know in jest, but pre-season, you look at Port Adelaide's midfield, I reckon you'd want to run
you'd be
to
licking
that.
your lips. I would.
I'm going to flag this year and come back the year after the pool.
And you look
There
at
you
the
go.
Crows midfield.
Biggles, you speak to all sorts of people. You hear things inside the walls at the Crows. What's, are they realistic? Are they bleeding? Are they hurting? Or do they think they're going all right? I mean, what is the word out of there? I've heard Tim Silver speak publicly,
it's
but
different
sort of
these
spoke
days.
in cliches, really.
It's different because that ruthless winning mentality, which was successful in eras gone by, we sound like dinosaurs, they can't have that because the players don't respond. So they've got to talk to the players as though they are going well. Because if you tell them they're going that shit at the moment, they'll go back into their shelves. So the power of positivity is sometimes, I think, gets out of control when you speak to some of them. And they understand that as well because they're dealing with sometimes delicate little flowers, who need to be pumped up when they're not playing well. So, for example, when Port were dominating, back, I'm talking Sample days, like there was this ruthless kill mentality, destroy, no one is going to beat us. That's it. That doesn't work anymore. You can't get. You've got to have the confidence in every player that they've got to believe amongst themselves to play above themselves with the talent they've got. So, in answer to your question, the belief they're selling to the blokes is the only way they can sort of get out of it. They've got to sell to them that they are doing better than what they are.
Okay.
and one player that needs a bit of time in the sample is Josh Rachele.
All right. And why do you say that?
Well, his efforts. He got caught out again on the weekend against Sydney Swans. This lad is a genuine outside type player, but when it's your turn to go and put your head in the hole and you're going to stay in line with the footy, he got caught out again on the weekend. And as a teammate, when you see that, you lose trust. you lose trust.
So what's he
So
averaging?
I-
14 disposals and a goal a game.
No, I
No,
think after the
You're seeing
Sydney
those
game,
moments which are getting
he
around,
owned
yeah.
it. He owned it about 6 weeks ago. He came out when he pulled out of a contest,
Which was pretty good of him to do
and
that.
I give him a tick for that. But then you learn from that, Ditts. But it's not in his DNA. He's not a savage player. He's not.
But that's what we're talking about. You can't then go to him and show. Well, I'm not sure how Mickey Godden and these guys would go to him and go, look, see this here where you pulled out and the whole country saw it. Like, can they show that, or can they need him to be confident in boxing and carrying?
Well, I think to make a statement, you've got to drop him next game. I would just to sit down with him, show him the vision, and then go, this is part of your game you've got to work on in the sample. Go back and just get some confidence, but you can't accept that.
All right, after the bye, Tex Walker should be ready to go. Although he did say, not definite, but let's say he's ready to go. He spoke about Thilthorpe being ready to come back in as well. That's a big plus.
Good.
That's huge.
He's ready. He's ready. He's ready.
Bulked up a bit too.
I've heard.
Yeah, he looks
Someone
bigger.
said he's ripped like bloody
he's
Thor.
Big.
I know
Beard
one
having
player
good.
can't change much.
No, but
I'll tell you what, if they had him all year, their forward line all of a sudden is a lot different.
We're talking
I
different
think
language.
he can be an elite player. That
Oh,
way.
absolutely. Is he a ruckman?
Can ruck. That's all you need.
But I'm saying, can he be your number
that's
one
like
ruckman?
Jackson at Freo. That's all you need. He could do it once he gets
Okay,
bigger.
all right.
But he's gone through knee injury, shoulder injury. He's had a lot. But
Yeah.
hey, can we have a crack at John Longmire as well?
Please do.
What for?
Well, he disconnected the keg of the Amartey party. Could have kicked 10. Took him off.
Now, I'm glad you've raised this. I
Seriously,
forgot
the
about
bloke's
this.
going to kick 10.
Right.
his 10.
He took
Well
the
done
punch bowl
for
away.
Rachele.
The Amartey
Good work,
party.
Biggles.
This is another one of my beefs, right? I hate the modern game in
There
many
you go,
ways.
yeah.
You've got me on a roll now.
Yeah.
I gave the example a few weeks ago. In the showdown, Fogarty kicks the first 2 goals. We've been playing 90 seconds.
Don't tell me.
Rozee comes off.
No, don't.
Jogs off because it's his turn to rotate. And I'm watching this going, hang on. Porter under siege here. It's early days. Stay out there for the next bounce.
Yeah.
At least. Stay for 5 minutes. Bring off someone, like you look at McEntee or somebody and say, you go off.
Yeah.
And when it's your turn to go off later, I'll come off.
Yeah.
You've got to be, a coach has to be smart enough to adapt and look at the game and go, hang on, we're in trouble here in the middle. Rozee, stay out there. Likewise on the weekend, how about a bit of theatre? There was 1 minute 50 on the clock. Yeah. And what? It's his turn to rotate off, is it? You buffhead, John Longmire.
Yeah.
You absolute
Selfish.
wanker. Well, have you not? How about a bit of drama and theatre for the game?
Yeah, Longmire as
Well
a player
said,
wouldn't
Biggles.
have come off when he's kicked his 9th. He wouldn't have come off.
Of course he wouldn't have.
He's kicked 14 in a
Would
game.
have been about me.
And someone on the bench
He
would
would've
have
gone Pago.
some
Pago.
university student would
Yeah.
have said, no, it's his turn to rotate, John. There's a minute 50 left in the
Leave
game.
him and get everyone out of the forward line and leave him one
piss
out.
off.
Because Merv Keane had a shocker on him.
University student with a laptop.
Yeah, I need to check his. No, I need to check his monitor, his heart rate monitor.
His heart rate's gone up. Get him off.
Palpitations.
Nah, it was sad. I felt for
one
the
of the
young
most
lad.
ridiculous things I've ever
He may
seen.
not kick 10 goals ever again.
But do you agree with me that
He had a look
if
too.
these
Did you
blokes are worth their money, they're 900 grand they're getting a year, the coaches, can you not read the situation of the game
Amartey had a look at the
sometimes?
coach's box. You know that?
And
he was
say-
coming off
Nah,
like this.
I'm with you, Ditts.
You know, not just the Amartey one.
Poor bugger.
There's
Yeah.
lots of situations in the
Yeah.
game. I'd be saying to a certain senior player, get back in the
Yeah.
next centre bounce.
Yeah.
I know it's your turn to come off. I'll
Nah.
take someone else off instead.
Yeah.
You come off in 10 minutes.
Where's the Swans
Like,
leaders?
Jesus.
And he didn't want to cut. Poor lad was shattered when he was coming off
gave him
because he
a
had
filthy look.
he had Merv Kane stitched up all night,
Merv Kane.
and he knocked it.
Kane.
You know, the theatre of football's gone, Ditts. Back in the day, Timmy
got
Evans,
no
he wouldn't
idea.
have come off at 9 goals.
Would have told
Brendan
Dave
Dietrich.
Armfield, go and get knotted. Go back and tell Jack, I'm staying out here.
Rick Davies.
And that did happen.
But Jumbo wouldn't have come off.
It did happen. Famous grand final
Yeah.
incident. Jack Odie sent Daffy out Edwards and said, ask Rick Davies what the hell he's doing down there in halfback flank. And he said, go back and tell Jack I'm getting the footy. And he was. He got best on ground. That is what used to happen. And you know what Jack Odie said? He said, yeah, fair enough. He is too, yeah. I mean, that's what happened.
See what happens, Jad, when you bring beers in the studio. Hey,
I
good
love
podcast.
it. Well,
All right. Have you got anything else, boys?
no.
Enjoy your week at the footy. You've
Well
been
done.
listening to The Bump.
Rue, Ditts, Bernie, Jars. Triple M's The Bump.